I'm good. How are you? There we go. All right, it's 10:01, so we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. The commissioner is driving for the first time this morning, I understand, since his operation, and so they've cleared the traffic, but so far it's not working, and so he'll be here as soon as he can. Oh, no, wrong commissioner. Good morning. Okay, call this meeting to order. Roll call, starting with the High Sheriff of Nottingham.
Sheriff Tom Johnson III.
Mike Sullivan for Rick Warren.
Marissa Treat.
Butch Freeman.
Miles Davidson.
Larry Stein.
All right, seeing that we have a quorum, we're going to continue on. Notice of this meeting was properly posted November 20th. Pledge of Allegiance. Mike, why don't you lead the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, Mr. Mike. All right. Next item is approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. All favor? Aye. And they are approved. All right, consent agenda, items number 2 through a bunch. 30. Items 2 through 30 consent agenda.
Move the consent.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to move consent. Any questions, any particular item that anyone likes to have pulled out? Hearing none, all vote. All favor?
Aye.
All right, recurring agenda items. Item number 31 is the monthly financial report to be presented by the county clerk's finance department. Are you the man today?
Yes, sir. Good morning. I am the man today.
Albert, treasurers do not wear vests.
They don't?
No.
Oh,
In Oklahoma County, they do.
Oh, no, they don't.
You look very nice, Albert.
thank you. Okay. Let's see. Cassie, this me, right? Okay. So, page 3 on your handout there. This is the general fund. Hold on the wrong. Sorry, the first page, the general fund budget. So this is reflecting the supplemental budget, and then as far as the reserve, we have a total of $9,574,210 in reserve at the moment. And then on page 3, which is the general fund reserve overview, last month you guys approved the assessor merit pay, capital projects, and another assessor project, which brought the reserve to that $9,574,209.27, rounding for the 210. There's a couple of items that'll be on this budget board agenda to move funds out of the reserve for the juvenile department. One is for the salaries and fringe for $417,879.38, and another one is for security dividers for $39,894.75. So if you approve those two transfers out of reserve, it'll bring the reserve balance down to $9,116,435.41. And then on the next one, your analysis here. Cash balance for the month of October is $17,903,291. This is page 4. Yep. Okay. All right. And then on page 5, which is the year-to-date comparison, your October balance of $13,905,381.45. And then this same time frame of October of last year, we had $7,596,542, which is an increase of $6,308,839. And that increase is due to reval funds that we received, along with big deposit from the Juvenile Detention Center to make up that difference there. And then the next one is your employee benefits, which is just page 6. Cash balance at the end of October is 1,630,574. And then, on the year-to-date comparison, on medical and RX claims, John will give you a better breakdown on that. And so then on page 8, which is the employee benefits year-to-date comparison, on the right-hand side, you see for the October of this year was the 1,635,47, and then October of same time frame of last year, the balance was 1,158,748. So we're up $471,709 for this year. And then the last one is the capital projects budget. The amounts in unallocated funds is 393,594. And then on the capital projects, we've added a couple new projects. One is the courthouse maintenance for 250,000. The other one is your jail overhead door that you approved last go round for 4,500. And the other one is the DA security badge access for the 10,000. So, and that is all I have for you as far as the monthly financial. Do y'all have any questions?
Questions? Your motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Thank you very much, Albert. You do look very sharp. You really do. But no, I am not wearing a vest.
Okay. You don't have to.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Item 32.
They don't make vests big enough for me, so. All right, update for the watch list this month. We don't have any additions or any subtractions from the watch list from the previous month. We do have a couple of items that are on as a recommendation that are at the bottom of the watch list here that weren't listed on there before, but those are recommendations on your agenda today. Items number 38 and number 40. I can discuss those a little more in depth when we get to those items. One of the items that is on the watch list that was on there previously was the pretrial services program of $300,000. BET is continuing to work on that particular issue. We have tasked one of our members with getting with the jail trust to figure out a mechanism to where maybe they can absorb those expenses so that it's kind of a revenue neutral issue. We will hopefully hear something back on that pretty soon. If we do, we will potentially have a special BET meeting, have a discussion on that, and then bring it back to you at the earliest available time that we have a decision made on that one. So that is where we are.
Questions? Do we have a motion to receive as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Cody. Item 34, county health. 33.
Good morning. This is just a standard report that compares this year versus last year. And this report details claims that were paid through last week. So it's pretty current. Overall medical is pretty close to last year. We're about down 2%. Prescriptions are down 11%. As a reminder, we took off those retirees from prescription plan last year, and this is kind of where it's impacting us now, where we're saving some more money. If you combine medical and prescription, we're down 5% overall through claims paid last week. And then if you add in reimbursements that we've received this year versus last year, we're down a total of 6% or $620,000. So overall, everything's looking good on medical and prescription claims.
Questions? Your motion?
Motion to receive report.
Okay, got a motion and a second to receive the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John. All right, item number 34, Mr. Stein.
Visited with Brandy yesterday. She is working out of state on some issues, and I don't have anyone, they were unable to get somebody here, but I know that they are working on finding the contract resolution for Oklahoma City for the use of our jail. And there are other things that they'll be able to get us updated on next month on the rates of the daily rates for inmates and other things. And it's a difficult time around the holidays to be able to get someone here, but we hope to have someone next month.
What did you just say about working with Oklahoma City on what now?
The money that is owed on the contract that we have currently, and then also, the way I understand it, also getting a new contract resolved for the future to be able to take in their inmates.
Okay, so are there some issues with it? Is that what you were saying, or is just routine stuff they're working?
It appears to be more than routine.
Okay. All right, questions? Well, I don't know that we need any
I
particular,
don't think so.
I guess, yeah. No action on 34. 35. Rick Buchanan, you know, we were talking just the other day, whatever happened to Rick Buchanan? And here he turns up.
Lost and found. You all in your, as elected officials, Chief Deputy here, Mr. Sullivan, have appointed 7 brilliant people to the Handbook Committee and 1 bald-headed knucklehead. So the Handbook Committee is going to take on a voluminous job in the next few months. And today we're bringing you in slowly by introducing low-hanging fruit. So you all, I believe, have documents that show some of the initial changes that we're making. And it's the definition of a work week, and we're eliminating the word midnight out of our definitions because several people look at it. You can look at it 2 different ways. When is midnight? When does it start? It's at the end of the night or the start of the new day. So we've cleaned that up. We've added some hyphens to some words. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but we're just cleaning up language. And thanks to Larry Stein, honestly, for appointing Leanne.
She's
And
terrific.
She was the first person to point this out to us.
Associated Press style says there's 2 times where it's 12. There's
Right.
12 midnight and there's 12 noon.
Right.
And if you have 12 a.m., when is that?
That is the start of the next day.
It is?
Yep.
So the references of midnight and noon mean nothing anymore? Because I can't,
We're clearing up the language in the handbook because you can define it it's the possibility exists to define it differently.
okay.
So we're just clearing up language to say 12 a.m., 11:59 p.m. stuff.
So instead of having 12 midnight, it'll be 11:59 p.m. And instead of 12 noon, it'll be 11:59 a.m.
Correct.
You know, there's always the old military 24-hour clock.
There you go.
Yeah. That would be a policy if you all want to adopt that. We'll support you. You sign our checks. Any questions? There's 4 areas where we cleaned up the language, so they're noted on here in the various sections. So
Are you asking then, is this before us, for us to approve the change?
Yes,
Is that what you're asking
Yes,
for?
sir.
Larry, you seem to be the most knowledgeable of us.
I just think the terms AM and PM when referring to 12 is just, I think that's why we have midnight and we have noon. And trying to clarify what we're talking about.
you're a appointee, Mr. Stein,
Uh-huh.
is a former English teacher.
Yes, sir.
And she's brilliant.
I know she is.
And there is generally accepted language for that. And she got us on that. If the previous handbook was graded by her
Oh, it'd be horrible.
in that
It'd be an F.
yeah, we wouldn't
Still
have done it.
Motion to accept.
Okay, motion to accept the proposed change. Do we hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second question.
So that's to approve the changes?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve as presented. All in favor? Aye. Any against? Motion passes. Over to the commissioner.
Go ahead and just keep going. You're fine.
You know, I'm not paid enough to do this, but
All right. Item 36, employee benefit supplement.
Sure. This is just a routine item. This budget board item facilitates the process of transferring money that was approved in the budget. So this just gets it done. We'll do this every month.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hannah?
Good morning. This is just a transfer from M&O to travel. It's to cover some of our trainings that are coming up. We have been granted the opportunity to go to the FBI LEDA training this year. So we're really excited about that, to get to go and get some additional training and services. And so we're really excited.
How
Motion
many
approved.
people will be going?
3.
And where is it at? In DC?
It hasn't been determined yet. We wanted to see if we're going to go as close here as we can to hopefully avoid a flight so that we can drive and save some money there. So there's some in Dallas that we're hoping to hit.
FBI.
Yes, the FBI LEDA training, which is their leadership initiative. It's more for like executive level leadership in corrections or law enforcement organizations, and so it'll give us a lot of networking, a lot of benefits, and a lot of just kind of different opportunities should something terrible happen. That'll give us a lot of resources.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Cody?
All right, so the Office of Juvenile Affairs have adjusted the daily rate allowed for counties. The $417,879.38 on your agenda represents the change in the daily rate that they are allowing for Oklahoma County for this fiscal year. The way we fund that, the county funds it up front. OJA sends in reimbursement dollars into the general fund. Well, when we budgeted this year, the revenues that we budgeted were based on those old numbers. They did not include the increased amount that OJA is including here. So while we're going to get that 417, we won't be able to spend it this year absent reopening the budget and doing all of that. So the thought process here is we'll bring that 417 into general fund, and it'll just sit there and be able to be allocated next year. But in the meantime, OJA had used those additional dollars. The thought process they had was that they were making those monies available to increase salaries in the juvenile bureaus. So what juvenile is wanting to do is increase their salaries in this same amount. Problem is, the money that OJA sends us, the additional 417, we won't be able to use that this year to handle it. So what BET is recommending is a transfer from general fund reserve over to juvenile bureau of the 417 879.38 to cover those additional salary increases for this year. And then next year, it would just be picked up with the increase that we will budget on the revenue side. So when we looked at this, if you recall, on our watch list, we're kind of tracking our general fund balance in 2 ways. We're looking at one-time money that's put in there, and then we're looking at non-one-time money that's put in there. This particular item is while it's an ongoing increase in the future on the salary side, it's a one-time added expense on our side because just the mechanism of the money coming into general fund as a reimbursement. So we are recommending pulling that money out of the one time and leaving the ongoing piece alone for now and funding it out of the one time. It's all in one fund. It's all in reserve, but just the way we track it on our watch list sheet.
The 417, does that represent is that all new, or it doesn't include any of the old? It's the 417 represents just the increase,
It's the new revenue that OJA will be sending in for this fiscal year. Yes,
the
sir.
additional
The
revenue.
additional revenue.
Okay.
And that additional revenue, they expect that to be tied to increase in salaries for those employees. Our juvenile department can't increase their salaries without having additional funds made available for them. Without opening the budget, we can't just use this 417. So what we'd be doing is fronting the 417 out of our reserve account for this fiscal year. It'll be there and we can budget it for next fiscal year.
Move approval.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And this is the elevator for juvenile ARPA project. Any discussion on that?
Yeah, question. Who's Danielle? Is she here?
The Accenture.
Is she here?
I actually really love that you brought that question up because I had a discussion this morning, and I think we may visit at another time about the proper way to post these on the budget board items. Because I would like to know what budget board member has authorized on behalf of instead of an outside consulting group. So I do think that's a conversation that we should have, and I think we could have after this meeting.
You know, once again, great minds think alike.
I think for the purpose of today and continuing business, and we have a lot that we need to do with ARPA, I think that we could move forward, but I do have some questions and suggestions that I'll visit with each office about.
Is there any questions of Hannah? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Go ahead.
All right. Item 40 is also a recommendation from BET. OJA has a separate fund that allows for an application to pay for some capital upgrades. The juvenile department has recognized for a while the need for security dividers. They have one. It's a glass partition so they can see from one area into the other so that they can let two different areas out into the common rec area. It helps them with efficiency of their staff. They don't have that in all of those areas. What juvenile is wanting to do is, well, actually they made application and OJA is willing to pay for 85% of the cost of these partitions. So this amount here, the $39,894.75, is the amount that we would need to be able to fund that, and then OJA will in turn reimburse the county. It's at an 85% clip, so we'll be responsible for 15% of the cost.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You've already voted on this one, so this is just a duplicate. If you wouldn't mind striking it, please.
Is there a motion to strike?
Second.
Motion.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sheriff?
So this is a transfer special revenue fund and capital to M&O. There'll be two of them going to, it won't exceed $147,820.10.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then, Mr. Sullivan?
Right, because it's confusing because the consultant put it on the agenda.
This is your social distancing project on the 5th floor.
And the
that has been
consultant's not
previously
here.
approved. This project will help you expand your footprint on 5. This just keeps that going forward. Stacy, am I
You had to move the DA off 5 in order to make space for the project to happen, and they're over at the, a block up the road there, and rent has to be
So
paid.
this is the rent.
And I thought the boards had already approved this rent. I know through several meetings, I've seen this before. And it came from the ARPA 1415 account. It's not really coming out of the fifth floor project. It was some money that was not allocated to anything. But this should finish off the DA's rent through 2026. And then we'll be able to bring them back to the ICB.
I know you didn't even see my lips move, but I moved to approve.
And our consultant's happy to be here anytime we want to pay to fly her down from Denver.
Well, I
So-
also know that she can do Teams, but really the consultant is not a budget board member. So budget
Yeah.
board members should be putting the item
I
on.
was addressing your comment about she's not here.
Right, and
So we
she's,
can have her here
but
anytime we
she's
want to pay to
actually
send her.
not reached out to budget board members on a regular basis like's been requested over the past year proactively. She can do that by phone
She
or
can.
over Teams.
She can.
Items 43, 44, 45, and 46 are all the same in that they're just moving from one ARPA to the other ARPA. Is that not true?
It is true, but these are big items that all of our names will be on when we move money from one bucket to the other. So it
Still
would
rather
be
do-
good to have explanation of each agenda item.
Okay.
All in favor of?
Okay, so we've got a motion. So, yeah, 43. Yes?
Aye. Any opposed? So are you wanting to do these individually because they're big items? Is that what you're saying?
I think for transparency, it would be appropriate for each item to be discussed.
All right. The social services trailer.
Questions in regards to the ARPA
Great. Somebody should.
agenda items as well. Thank you.
Would you like to explain it a little bit more, please?
Sure. This is the social services homeless trailer because of the change that we had with our in our legislature in regards to us being able to continue to offer indigent services. There were a couple ARPA applications that we had to close out because we just weren't able to provide that any longer. One of which is the homeless services trailer. And so this is to close out that ARPA project to be able to return those funds back to the 1415. So that way we then can find a partner that can continue to provide services for the homeless in regards to laundry. We have a trailer. We want to be able to continue to utilize it for that purpose, but we have to close it out first so we can reallocate those funds.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And this is the homeless navigator.
Same. This is another service that we can no longer offer due to not having a social services department. Therefore, we are closing out this project and moving these funds back into the 1415 account.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same.
Same. Just moving funds where they need to go so that way
Motion to
we
approve.
can close it out.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And finally, the capital projects new jail fund. The HVAC.
Jessica, thank you very
You're
much
welcome.
for spending time to explain. And this is a clerk office, so Albert will present.
Okay. All right. For item number 47, as far as the agenda language, it's all coming out of general fund. It's not just that specific department, the 110, but it's going into the capital projects 2080. This is during the September supplement, it was voted to move the 5.5 million that was used previously out of 2080 for CJA. And during September, we're going to move this back into the 2080 capital projects new jail. That was to reimburse those funds. So you should have an attachment for the appropriation for that 5.5 million from the general fund.
If I remember, this is something that we did vote on, but now we're actually moving the money. Is that correct?
When the funds are
When the
available,
funding
yes,
is-
we'll move it over, yes.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, Albert. Any citizens to speak before the PBA? Board comments, assessor? Nothing. Or for
Happy
the budget
Thanksgiving.
board?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, safe travels. Congratulations to the sheriff for his reelection, the court clerk, the county clerk, and your tough battles that you guys have.
Hell, that election was years ago, wasn't it?
Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Brian. yeah.
Another tough election.
Treasurer?
I have nothing.
I appreciate Jessica you standing up and speaking on behalf. I do think it's important for transparency that we are informed of what it is that we are voting on. So I do appreciate that. And I look forward to a discussion just to clarify who should be actually making the request. And I don't necessarily know that we need Danielle to come or not come, but I do think that it's important for us to all know what we're voting on and that we're discussing. And while there may have been discussions in other meetings, we don't all attend other meetings and we don't all remember what happened yesterday. So sometimes it's good to have a refresher. So I don't intend to overcomplicate it, but I do think transparency for voters is, and constituents is incredibly important. So I really appreciate it. The other quick thing I will say is that, as you guys know, we're in the middle of our audit with ENY, and that's going very, very well. We should be done in the next few months. There's some more work that we need to do, especially related to the IT piece. But if anybody has questions or any constituents or elected officials want to visit with me in more detail about what we're looking at, what the recommendations are, I'm always happy to have that conversation. But it's going great. And our goal is to improve systems and processes and transparency within our office so that we can better serve the entire county. That's all I have.
Let me be the first to wish Mr. Mon, Commissioner Mon, Chairman Mon, a happy birthday tomorrow.
I want to be the first to wish Mr. Sullivan a happy birthday tomorrow.
Blessed to continue to serve Oklahoma County. Thank you.
Congratulations, Sheriff. Any new business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Favorite motion.
And the one that gets forgotten the most.